Remember, we have slides. And this is the class 8, 5 different proofs of emptiness.
Course 2, class 8.
We are coming to very sexy subjects. And do you want to talk a little bit why do we need these proofs?
Yeah, this is interesting. Like, why do we need to look at all of these different ways of emptiness? Isn't one just good enough? And then, what's the answer?
The answer is because we didn't see emptiness directly, some of us yet. So we need to first to convince our mind that it is really works as we learned. And second, the more we will learn these proofs of emptiness, the better we will, the closer we will come to see emptiness directly. It works as a seed, right? The more we study it.
Yeah, and people have because you can help people better, right?
Yeah, and I was thinking, because to be honest, when I first studied this class, I was like, what? Proofs, like you read them, they do not really make sense. I didn't know honestly what to think about it. Why do I need 5? Like maybe I will study 1 and it will be enough. But then for people, and Geshe Michael, he says that there are people with high spiritual IQ, not only like intellect, like thinking capacity or cognitive capacity, but there are people with high spiritual capacities. And interesting that the description of these people are that when someone attacks you, what you do?
Attack back.
You love them even more.
What if you don't like
strange.
them? I want to hit them if I don't like them. Can I do that? They deserve it usually.
Yeah, this is called bodhisattvas in disguise.
No, yeah, help people, because everybody has all of these different schools are all of these different proofs, and the different schools of thought. They were taught by Lord Buddha 2,500 years ago because he's omniscient, he can see everything, and he knows the different wrong ideas we have about our, and even if you don't have that wrong idea, you can help somebody else who does have the wrong idea. I mean, right? The world's a dangerous place, right? And we're trying to get out of it. We're trying to minimize our suffering. And you need all the knowledge you can get. There was a story I was thinking about, like all the knowledge that you can get, right? It's a bit like where, I was a pilot in the Air Force. I was an instructor and flew the T-38. It was a fighter aircraft, 1960s era, supersonic, really fast. And they took you, after a year of pilot training, they give you 6 more months of training to be an instructor. And then you're back, you're teaching a student and you're on your own. I mean, back then, you were really on your own, right? The plane was strictly mechanical. There was nothing computerized in it. It was literally everything that happened because of the pilot. Now computers, you spend most of your time programming computers, and computers are watching. But back then it was strictly all mechanical, and it was fun. And you had these manuals because again, you had like 300 hours of total experience when you come back and you're an instructor, and it was not very much, right? And so you're constantly trying to learn. You had big, thick manuals, and people would, you were trying to learn everything you could from the manual to save you, right? Because you didn't have time to make all the mistakes you were going to make. And I remember I used to, what my favorite thing to do was to fly low-level routes. You'd fly at
What does it mean, low level route?
so you would I was in West Texas, in desert, canyons, mountains, and you'd fly a route just navigating visually over the ground using just a clock in your eyes. And you flew really fast, like 360 knots, which would be like what? Like 600 kilometers per hour.
Wow.
And
In the canyons?
yeah. Well, then you could push it up to 420 knots, which would be like 700 kilometers per hour.
Mhm.
And so, like really fast, right? Like faster than any race car. And you were low to the ground. I mean, really low. Almost hit a telephone pole once.
Wow.
But there was another time I've been flying later, and it was fun, right? Because you go and the canyons were just the right shape, right? To like just the right size for it to be fun, to fly low, and you get a sense of speed when you're flying low to the ground that you don't get when you're up in the air. And so for a young man who liked speed and going fast, it was really, really fun. And I remember once by this time I was an instructor, and I was flying on a new route. And again, we're out in the middle of nowhere, right? You could go from like Austin's kind of in the middle of Texas, and then El Paso's all the way on the west end. And there's like literally like almost nothing in between Austin and Texas for like 700-800 miles, like for more than 1,000 kilometers, like nothing except desert. And perfect place to go fly a fighter, and low to the ground. And remember once I had a student, and it was a new route for me, and a new area I hadn't been on. And we're flying pretty low. And then and there was an corridor area that you were supposed to stay in roughly, and then you navigated around that. And I remember the student's busy paying attention, he's flying, and I'm busy also. And then all of a sudden, I'm not flying as low as what I used to, because after hitting that telephone pole, or not hitting the telephone pole, but just narrowly missing the telephone pole, we were probably 10 meters off the ground or something, and
Oh,
and so I started flying a little higher, because now I'm in the back seat and I can't see over the student, and and I thought, oh, like I'm never going to see a telephone pole, so I started flying a little higher. And then we're driving out of the middle of nowhere, West Texas, and all of a sudden this tower comes. Yeah, it had to be 1,000 feet off the ground. And I was like, oh, okay. Well, wasn't expecting that, right? And because I'm new, I'm a new instructor, right? And so I get back, and when we get on the ground, and there were wires, because the towers have wires that come out of it for like a long way out to hold it up. And so it's not just the tower, it's the wires that come out of it that'll catch you, right? Because you can see the tower. You can't see the wires that come off it that are holding it up.
basically, you almost crashed the aircraft.
Yeah. Almost crashed the aircraft. And then I got back down on the ground, and then I looked at the map, and I'm like, wow, boy, that was something. And then you looked, and then so the maps were big, right? And then you're flying low to the ground, and you're trying to look at the map, and there was this little tiny squiggle, like it was a piece of paper. It was like, I mean, it was just a tiny little mark on the map. Oh, 1,000 feet, like in all this like busy map, tiny little thing. Oh, that's 1,000 feet though. Oh, dang it, that'll kill me. Like if I didn't get that. And then I remember reading through the manuals, and there was a little warning somewhere. Like I went back and I found it. I said, oh, make sure you do a full route study, and because there will be obstacles that you won't see. It was just like one paragraph, right? Because other people had the same problem,
Somebody crashed the airplane.
So lots of people crash the airplanes. And so there was one paragraph, like, and the manuals are thick, like this thick. And so there's like in all of this, there's like one little paragraph in there that if you read it and took the advice, it would save your life, right? And so
you know how many people will be afraid of flying now?
no, okay, so this was the Air Force 35 years ago, right? Yeah, it's not happening like that anymore. Aviation's safe, but oh yeah, it was definitely military flying 30 years ago was a different.
So you want to say that now it is safe?
Yeah, now I just get on the airplane and go to sleep and I don't worry. Actually, it was one of the things that they developed in the 90s because people were having problems hitting things on the ground, right? And so one of the first things they did was develop a database of all the obstacles everywhere. And it's in a computer and it's on the map. And now you don't have to look through 1,000 miles of maps and find, the tiny little squiggle like that says, don't hit this or you'll die, right? And so now it's on the computer, tells you how high you are. You can see it all, it's super easy. And it was one of the last major innovations in aviation that really has made it as safe as what it is now. But anyway,
the reason.
But the reason why is because you're studying all this stuff because you never know what little piece of advice is going to save your life, right?
Or somebody else's life.
Or somebody else's life, right? And so studying emptiness, right? We're in samsara, it's dangerous. People have all kinds of wrong ideas. And so you never know, like, which proof is going to save somebody's life, right? Which proof is going to keep somebody from hitting a tower that they didn't know was there?
And with these words, we may start the class.
Yeah. So yeah, don't hit the study. Don't hit the tower.
Yeah. Just close your eyes for a second. Okay, not second, probably 1 minute. And think about your life, your issues that you have now, problems, desires, where you want to go. Think about other people. Maybe they have the same issues. Decide that you will help them somehow. You don't know how yet. But just try to have this wish to help all of them. And decide that this will be your pay for this class. This is why you will not spend your good seeds, but you plant much more because of this wish. Think about the fact that by changing your behavior and by knowing what is the best to do, you can transform this reality completely into something ancient people would call a paradise. Because you are empty of your own nature, because there is a path that works, and because there are people who walked this path, who are on this path, and they get realizations. It does work. Open your eyes.
Открыть глаза.
Открыть глаза. Open your eyes in Russian. Okay. So out of love, you want to study out of love to other people and to yourself also. You want to study the proofs of emptiness because they may save your life. Maybe the pen story will help somebody. Maybe two husbands in the kitchen will be more practical for another person. Maybe these magicians with the magic power. I don't know what they had, drugs or what.
Yeah, I want to see it, right? May
We
not be.
will go to India and we can try to get to these regions. Geshe Michael says that these magicians, they still have them in high mountains regions where people, they basically have nothing to do. They have very simple entertainments like these magicians. So maybe we can try to find them somewhere with the magic powder.
It'd be interesting. It'd be, yeah, I've always wanted to see that. Okay, so we won't have a real long class today because I know you guys are tired and
now you made all translators happy.
yeah.
And we promise to go slowly.
Promise, yeah. Give me a signal if I'm talking too fast. Yeah.
Okay. So let's not get distracted. Proofs of emptiness. In this course, we actually do not study in depth all these proofs, but they are very fun to learn. And there is a book, and to be honest, it's in my backlog of stuff to do very urgently. Because we have translated the book into Russian also, and you can read it in English. The meditations on emptiness. Venerable Utpala translated it with Geshe Michael Roach. And you have all these proofs there in details. Some of them do not have that many details there. We need more books to get translated. So there are 5 main proofs of emptiness, right? And if you are new to these teachings, so just relax, just open your ears and mind and just listen. You know, mind is like a parachute, works only wide open. And then you just plant seeds, and at some point in future, you will understand why you need it and what are the proofs. Let's go through them.
Okay.
You wanted to add anything?
I can get started.
Okay.
If I miss something, jump in. Okay. And the names on these are pretty difficult, but don't get
By the
confused.
way, let's say when it is difficult, let's say it is easy.
Okay, the names of these are easy.
Easy.
But actually, we can make it easy for you because the idea is that's
when you study them a little bit, they are actually pretty easy.
Yeah, the ideas aren't as hard as what some of the early language was. Okay, so the first proof of emptiness is Chikdudrel, in Tibetan, the emptiness of one thing or many things. Okay. And so, slides, yes, great. Okay, so one thing or many things. And so then it's obvious, right? My ears are 2 things, and my nose is 1 thing. I mean, they exist, right? Many things, 1 thing. Except, is your nose 1 thing? Or is it 2 things? Right? I mean, and so like, what's really there? It's not as simple as what you think it is, right? It's only 1 thing when your mind labels it 1 thing, but it actually has pieces that break down, right? Further thoughts on that?
This particular proof, we will go in a little bit more details at the end of the class, but actually the idea is that everything in the universe is empty because everything in the universe is either one or many. either one or more than one. I mean, if you will think about anything, you can say either this is one thing or it's a collection of things, like, I don't know, 5 fingers, you know, like 2 ears, 2 hands, etc. So, and this is the first proof is called emptiness of one or many, chick to drill.
Yeah, and this one, the one thing, you know, that was fairly easy for me to understand. I can say, okay.
You want to go into details now?
No,
Okay,
okay, we'll
let's
later.
just name all 5 first.
Yeah, name. Okay, that's fine.
Okay. The second one is actually pretty funny. It is the sliver of diamond reasoning, Dorje Sekma. What does it mean, sliver? It means like small pieces, like diamond when it is hard or broken. Strange enough, diamond is very hard, but easy to break because it is hard.
It can be hard to shatter one. We tried in class once. Geshe brought a diamond, and he had a block and a hammer, and he tried to smash it with the hammer. Couldn't do it. It was hard.
But sometimes they just fall down, and
yeah,
it depends on.
If you hit it at the right line, it will shear off.
Yeah. So the sliver of diamond, Dorje Sekma. I kind of like this one. I don't know. We can go into some details next class, or
well, there's some good details on this one we can discuss this class.
Okay. So here it's interesting because in the proof they say that things do not come from themselves. Like there were some schools in ancient India, I mean philosophical schools. We can definitely find people thinking the same way now, who would say, like, you know what, things, they come from themselves because somehow let's take a sprout. The sprout somehow was present before it actually the grain gave the sprout, and they would be completely sure that it's true, like thing came from itself, the sprout was somehow present.
Yeah, that's the Sankhya's, the main school, the main yoga school will say that things come from itself. So did you get the name of this one that's in the homework is the denial that things which do or exist or do not exist could arise.
Yeah.
So it's something, like Gotcha's making a face like, oh boy, that's hope I don't need that one in the future. Things that do exist. They're just saying that does it already exist? Like if does a sprout come from itself? Right? So either things come from something or they come from nothing. Right?
You want to continue?
No, please go.
Okay. So first possibility is things come from themselves. Second possibility is they come from something else. And I mean, it's easy. Like this is a sprout, but it doesn't come from the sprout. There was a seed, right? Something else. Third possibility is things, they come from both themselves and something else. And this is like a pot that comes from the clay that existed previously, and somehow from the potter who made it a pitcher, and then the pitcher comes from the clay and the potter. And believe it or not, there was a school of outcasted, I think, and they would say that things, they come from nothing. I mean, it's a very weird school, but they would say that there are things that do not have causes. Yeah, I was not doing this one.
Okay, all right. That's why I'm confused. Yeah,
Yeah.
you went, got it.
And probably you may be confused because some of this, when you will read these proofs, they are kind of similar. Some parts of them are similar, and so you may get confused also. So these are actually 4 possibilities, right? But in the silver of diamond, you will see a very similar proof to this one. So they would say that the rainbow color in the peacock feather does not come from any cause, it just comes from nothing. Or they would say the sharpness of a thorn does not come from anything, comes from nothing. Or who did the roundness of the pear, they would say. It doesn't have a real cause, you know. Here we say that things do not come from themselves, things do not come from something else than themselves, things do not come from both possibilities, themselves and other than themselves, and things do not come from nothing, none of the possibilities. And why? Because self-existently they don't come from these things, right? This is the main idea of all these groups.
I got a little bit confused there. So I want to go back and review where we're at on each one of the names of the schools. Do you want to do the slides? And we can flip through so people can see.
Yeah, sure.
Okay, so the first one was the emptiness of one or many. The second one is the sliver of diamond reasoning. And this is where I was getting confused. The third one is the denial that things which do exist or do not exist could arise. And then the fourth one is, which Ina was just talking about, is the denial that things could arise through any one of the 4 possibilities.
And the fifth one
And the fifth one is the reasoning of interdependence. And so did I miss it? Did we talk about the denial that things which do exist or do not exist could arise?
Go ahead.
I hopefully you guys are, well, anyway, if I got confused, let's go back over and, so this is saying, again, this is the third school that we're talking about. Things which do exist or do not exist could arise. So they're saying that things don't come from nothing, okay? And that also they're saying that things don't come from something, okay? Things don't come from nothing, and things don't come from something, right? And so this is, it's a little hard, it's easy to see.
Was a sprout?
Yeah, so if you take a sprout, right? It's easy to see that the sprout doesn't come from nothing, right? It's not just spontaneously coming into the world. But then if you're going to say, well, does it come from something, right? Does a seed become a sprout? And they're going to say that it doesn't, that it's impossible for a seed to become a sprout, because a sprout is different than a seed, right? It's different. And then if you go at, so then at what point, here's something, okay, so you have sprout and you have seed, and then you have the moments of time in between, seed, 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 something different than sprout, seed, seed, seed. When does it become sprout? When does it make that jump from seed to sprout? Like at what point is it, and they have very beautiful arguments about when what that would have to look like, right? Is it like both a seed and a sprout at the same time? Well, no, they're different things, we said, right? So that's just to get you started on it. You're not going to be able to find the moment when seed becomes sprout. So they're saying both of those are wrong. That things don't come from nothing, and they don't come from something.
Because they are not self-existent.
Yeah, it's
every single proof here makes sense when you think in the terms of self-existence or coming from our seeds.
Right. So that one's and you probably are going to have to sit with that for a while before you're comfortable with it, before it starts to make sense, right?
Yeah, and especially because when we were getting ready to the class, I even have an idea that we may need to, have a special class, prepared for all these different possibilities, because now we have many books translated already by Geshe Michael, and we can compare, different information from these books. Because, for example, what I was talking about was actually an idea about the silver of diamond from the book Meditations on Emptiness. But when I was reading it, I was thinking, wow, it actually very similar to the fourth proof of emptiness about four possibilities, that things cannot arise out of one of four possibilities. So it takes time.
Yeah, the fourth proof of emptiness is similar to the third one, right?
And to the second one.
And so the fourth one again is the denial that things could arise through any of the four possibilities.
And here sometimes even the difference is like arise or exist, so like arise, like appear, right?
Yeah, and existing is something that's already there, right? And we're not saying that sprouts don't exist, they do. We're just saying they can't arise out of a seed. That if you look for it, they're different, and you can't. So anyway, you want to go, do you think we covered the four possibilities well enough, or do you want to talk about it in terms of the seed and the sprout?
I think it's fine for today's class. We are not supposed to go into details of the proofs.
Okay.
And actually, we discussed that we won't.
Okay. Yeah. No, it's fun to talk about.
Yeah, it's just very fun to talk. So the last one, I don't think we really talked about the fifth possibility. It's about proof based on interdependence.
And interdependence is an older term for dependent origination, that he doesn't use interdependence anymore.
Or just sometimes we say nowadays dependence, just dependence, because it's more clear. Then I think I should explain why not interdependence. Because in the word interdependence, interdependent, it's kind of this 50-50 schools word, like I
50-50 being lower middle way.
Yeah, the school we are in right now, actually. So in this school, I think that something is still there, like my husband who yells at me. There is something there, like the form and color and sound, but I interpret kind of this thing. So I label it, I put a name on it. There is something and I perceive it. Then we can say that it exists. So this interdependence kind of some people, they misunderstand that there is something out there that I create from my seeds, and he create, I mean, like there would be some self-existent person who would also create the world together with me. But from my perspective, 100% of responsibility is on me to create this world. So this is why the interdependence word was changed to dependence. Okay, so it's a cool, I think first time I was reading, I understood only this one.
Oh, yeah, it takes time.
Yeah, and this is called the kin of reasoning. We forgot to say Tibetan for the, so we said Dorje Sekma for the sliver of diamond. Then denial that things do exist or which exist or not exist could arise is Yume Kiagok. And denial that things could arise through one of four possibilities is called Mushi Kiagok. And the last one, reasoning of dependence, is called Tendrel Kirikpa or Rikpe Gyelpo, and this is the kin of reasoning, right? Want to add anything?
Do you want to discuss the different types of dependent origination?
Go ahead.
Okay. So in the lower school, the husband in the kitchen who's yelling at you. Okay, so what is their version of dependence? It's I won't quiz you because we didn't do our routine together here on this one. So the husband in the kitchen, lower dependent origination, low school. That's a husband who doesn't come from no causes. That husband, he had a bad day. He at work, he's hungry, maybe he's not feeling well. There are causes that are making that husband angry. And so that's the lower school version of dependent origination.
Not lower, middle way school, but lower than middle.
Yeah. Thank you. Yeah, that's low dependent origination. Then the next up is the husband in the kitchen who's yelling at you, who is coming from parts, right? So there's that husband. Okay, that husband's a good provider. That husband's good to the kids. That husband took me out to dinner last night. That husband just happens to be yelling at me right now, but there's only
out of four parts, only one is not great.
Yeah, only one. So there's parts, but only that part isn't good. And then the higher one, the one we believe in, that's the husband that's coming from my projection onto some kind of reasonable basis. That's the highest worldview. And so with the lower school, all you can do, lower dependent origination, that's the husband that's coming from causes, right? Well, then all you can do with that one, this is the hungry, tired husband. You just say, well, I'm going to wait. That's all I can do with that one, right? He depended on his causes. I have to wait until those causes are go. Things will change. The middle one, things depend on their parts. Well, you got to take the good with the bad with that version of dependent origination.
Because the parts you cannot change.
Yeah, you can't.
Only your label.
You can't change the parts, right? And the highest one, it was coming from me. That one you're in complete control over. That one, and the one that we're going to say is the accurate one, that's the one where I planted a mental seed. I yelled at somebody in the past, and so now I'm getting yelled at. That's the one that you can change completely. that's the reason, and that one, that version of dependent origination is the one that's going to let you be able to become a Buddha, enlightened, an angel. So those are the three different versions of dependent origination. And all of these, the lower schools are still really, this is always the disclaimer that we put out. The lower schools still believe in karma. And so they're still going to, if you really believed in those lower schools, you'd still have a really high level of ethics because you're still thinking that what you're doing is going to come back to you. It's just the highest one is the only one that really leaves open the possibility of full enlightenment, according to our school.
Yeah, and the reason why people are moving from lower schools to higher schools, they are able to detect imperfections of the schools because there are questions they cannot really answer. Like if you are a really logical person, then the lowest schools, they teach ethics, right? But the ethics would not work if things would not be empty. The reason they do not accept emptiness, they just cannot figure this connection. I mean, why to be ethical, right? How this karma exactly works. So, okay, let's go to the reasoning itself. Please don't stress out if you are confused, because it may take some time to understand these things.
You'll hear it
again and again.
Again and again and again, and it will become clearer over time. We're just introducing at this stage the concepts.
Okay, let's go through the emptiness of one or many, right?
Okay.
So the debate itself, the reason why we skip kind of other proofs is because every single proof it's a big subject. It's not very difficult. We explained some of them that are really great. I mean, all of them are great, but the ones that probably touched us the most, right? The reason of one or many is actually very interesting. You will think a lot about it, I can promise. So let's just review the reasoning itself, the famous stuff. Consider the three kinds of knowledge, of knowledge. They do not exist truly, self-existently, because they neither exist truly as one thing, nor they exist truly as many things. They are, for example, like a reflection of an image in a mirror. So in any reasoning, you have several parts. First is the subject, then the assertion, then the reason, and then the last part, you can give an example. It's an optional part, actually. So the subject is here, the three knowledge, and this is what we try to consider in this proof of emptiness, three knowledge. Disclaimer: it can be a telephone, a coffee cup, a pitcher, a water pitcher, a tree, the sun, the moon, anything. The three knowledge are not really a subject of interest here, but happen to be three knowledge. So we may want to know what they're talking about when they talk about three knowledge, because there were several divisions of three knowledge. One of divisions, if you remember, 8 qualities of the Sangha jewel, also had three knowledge in it. So this one is different. Here we have the knowledge of the basic knowledge, and this is the knowledge, actually it's a perception of selflessness. selflessness is a word for emptiness in lower schools.
Yeah, all three of these are just going to be different types of very high realizations.
Yeah, just first of all, it doesn't matter what is the subject, but because we talk about the subject, what are the three knowledge? First is the realization of emptiness. Second one is the first called the basic knowledge, perception of selflessness. Second is called the past knowledge, perception of emptiness by a bodhisattva. And the third one is omniscience, means the mind of an enlightened being. So we consider these three things, right? What we do next, then we say the second part is the assertion. They do not exist. Oi, do you mean that
we're wasting our time? They don't
direct
exist.
Perception of emptiness does not exist? The path of bodhisattva, sorry, does not exist? Do you think omniscience does not exist?
Yeah.
So forget about these things. Imagine we are talking about, I don't know, telephone. Consider a telephone. It does not exist. It does not exist truly. Why it does not exist? And they say because this tree knowledge, and the tricky thing is tree knowledge, right? You think right away, oh, there are many, of course. They do not exist in a self-existent way, neither as a one nor as many. And the trick is self-existent from their own side, right? Nothing exists from its own side. There is no object in the universe that exists from its own side. So whatever we say, red flowers, I don't know, white lamps, yellow umbrellas, does not exist from its own side, right? Do not exist from their own side. So this is the answer to the question, are there actually, do you think these things exist as one, many, both, or neither? In a deceptive way, we can say there are many. In ultimate way, they do not exist from their own side, right? None of them exist. What do we mean by saying really? Do you think it is true if we say they do not exist really? Yeah, it's true, because really means from their own side. It's in a self-existent way, independent on my projection onto a reasonable basis, right? So then we did three parts, right? First part, consider something, tree knowledge, blah, blah, blah. Second, they do not exist neither as one nor as many. They do not exist truly. It does not exist truly, whatever. Meaning self-existently. Because they do not exist neither as one nor as many in a self-existent way, right? And then there is an example. Because they are like things in a mirror. It is a very important example that explains actually why we make this mistake again and again. It's true that we see things in a mirror. They do not have their nature. They are not real things. They are reflections, right? So a person who knows, like an Arya, who knows that things that he perceives, or they perceive as real, they are just ripenings of projections, right? Coming out of their own seeds. They see a mirror and they know that the image is not real. I mean, if I don't like, I don't know, the earrings, I do not change them in the mirror. I change it on myself, right? So, and the children or dogs, cats who do not know about mirror yet. They didn't figure yet. There are dogs that are very smart and they know that it's a mirror.
I saw a video yesterday of a bear in the woods, and there was a mirror, and the bear was just walking through the woods, and the mirror was like facing him this way, right? And so he's walking, and all he sees, it looks like probably like a tree branch or something to him. And he's walking, and as he goes past the mirror, he looks over and he sees another bear that he didn't think was there, and he jumps up and he's all scared and he's attacking the bear, right? You know, and because he thinks it's real, he thinks there's a real bear in the mirror.
Yeah.
You know, it was hilarious, right? And then the mirror knocks over, the bear's gone, and he's totally.
Oi, we missed many.
Oh,
Many times slow down. Sorry, we got excited about the topic.
so the bear knocks over the mirror, and then the bear's gone, and he's all confused, and so that's an ordinary person, right? They think that the image in the mirror is real.
Mhm. Yeah, that's it. So you see, the proof is actually easy. Like you can take anything and it will be either one or many. Because even you take one thing, right? Does it have parts? And if it does, then it's many things. But it doesn't matter, one or many. It does not exist really.
Really being just a code word for self-existent. So like if you say, like if you're talking to Dharma people and you say dinner was really good, means it was so good that it was self-existently good, that the goodness was in the dinner itself, right?
Yeah, it seems like that sometimes, right?
Yeah.
Okay, that's it. That was the class. We told you it will be easy.
So we gave an hour and a half class in 52 minutes. So now you can go back and play it slowly and hear it all.
Because to be honest, at ACI too, the main thing is that to understand that there are multiple proofs of emptiness. I mean, there are 5, but there are much more than 5. There are thousands probably. And honestly, the pan story, it's also like a proof of emptiness, right? Or 2 husbands in the kitchen, because you can relate it to your own experience, right? And you feel that it's true. Your logic proves that it's true. Then it is a proof of emptiness. So.
And why do we care? You know, why do we care? Well, you can fix your health. You can get all the money you want. You can buy the houses, the cars, the vacations. You can have the partner of your dreams. You can make your mind isn't disturbed self-existently. You can have a peaceful mind that can concentrate and focus, and you can reach like all your spiritual goals. Right? These all matter because you can change everything and in ways that you probably can't imagine right now.
Yeah, these things, they're not theoretical. Probably we just listened to Adam's class. Geshe Michael was teaching with Adam Transcend Our class, translation class. And it was about qualities and characteristics, right? Most of the class. And for me, this subject that is considered to be very dry, like pramana, right? Buddhist logic or clear thinking, Geshe Michael likes to translate recently. These classes gave me probably the biggest realizations. So like I was like, wow, okay, this is why I remember I had this realization. I was teaching people how to meet their partners. What is the difference between your idea of a partner and your real partner? You can touch, and if you understand these profound ideas, these proofs of emptiness, some cool ideas from Buddhist logic, then you can create anything basically you want because you understand it.
Yeah. I'm going to give them an example.
Okay.
Like we say it's not theoretical, and then I'm going to say, okay, well, like I've got this wife, wonderful wife. She's better than what I ever thought would be possible,
And you slow down.
and I slow down. But really, okay, so how good can it get, right?
Mm.
One of her students, can I say this? Am I going to give this example?
We gave already, I think, 3 times
The
this
fourth,
example.
I've been around for a long time, right? And I've seen miracles, but to watch a student heal themselves of 4th stage cancer, right? It's extraordinary. Like they had 2 months to live now, they're completely cancer free. And that's what we mean when we say it's not theoretical. That your seeds can change that much. And it's not magic, it's not superstition, it's not bullshit wishful thinking. It's science, right? It's the nature of your reality. It's powerful, and it can be dramatic.
Yeah, and you can bear with us, stay with us, and like just continue to do what you are doing. Study ACI courses, please, please, please. Do all the homeworks, all the quizzes, all the meditations, and your mind will change in a way you would never dream. You will see it changing. And you will be able to do things you would never think you will be capable of.
Yeah, there's a reason for all of this. And to make your life happier, better.
Okay, let's do the
dedication,
and it will be the end of the class. All translators now will love us again.
Yeah. Helping them with mental afflictions by giving them a practical demonstration of their limits.
Believe me, I know, guys, what you feel, because I'm also a translator.
We're new. We'll get better. Ina and I get very excited about this stuff.
He's new, and I'm just evil.
You should see my son and I when we start discussing this. Like we'll both start talking faster.
And together.
It's just crazy.
At some point, I stop understanding what they say.
So
okay,
we'll try to be slow. And we got class tomorrow. So
yeah, tomorrow we start later. Tomorrow we start at what time?
10 o'clock Central.
Let me see. Tomorrow we start 10. It means 5 European time.
Is that right? 10 a.m. Central?
10 a.m. our time, 5 p.m. European time.
Depending upon where you are in Europe.
Close your eyes and think about all the classes you have done already and this particular class. So you try to wrap your mind around proofs of emptiness. Some of you are translating, some of you recording the class, organizing the event, helping in other ways. And just think about the fact that you want to help every living being with this knowledge. Maybe you have no idea how it will happen. It doesn't matter, because 95% of the seed is your motivation. So just make a decision that you dedicate all these seeds to become happy yourself and become an example for other people, beings, to be happy as well. make a decision that you will apply these teachings into your life, you will become a life example, and then you will teach others. When you're ready, open your eyes and see you tomorrow. 10 a.m. Chicago time, 5 p.m. European time.
Yeah, come back. Don't run away.
Don't run away. More cool stuff coming.
Пока-пока.